Hi, it's Leah Myers from Myers Design Studio, and today I'm gonna show you a technique how to make half square triangles out of strips of fabric. A strip of fabric. You can sew both sides, and I'll demonstrate that. I'm using a 5-inch width strip here, and these were extras off of a border that I cut. And that was the panel quilt that I did. I'm going to give them a little iron, and these were the leftover bits. So I cut another 5-inch strip piece of fabric to make these half square triangles, and I'm just demonstrating this. You may have done this before or have seen it. It's fine. And if you're new to my channel, thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you guys watching me. My channel is about sewing on vintage machines. Today, the vintage machine that I'm using is the Singer 15, and I'll put a picture up for you. It's right now you just see the back of it. And I haven't uploaded a video in a couple weeks because there's been a few problems in my studio. Had a bit of a flood, so I'll tell you about that more later. Okay, so I've cut another 5-inch strip about the same length as this. So if you're doing this for speed purposes, you probably will start off with the width of fabric, whatever strip you're going to make, and then you cut a whole bunch of half square triangles. So if you have a pattern that requires, like, I don't know, 128 half square triangles or something crazy like that, you can make a whole lot of them with using this method. So, and I'm going to put right sides together. This white fabric has a little bit of a print, which is, it's really, really faded. It's not even, it doesn't even show. And you can see that this got plus signs on it, which is very great for my demonstration today. This is actually on the grain, the way this is cut. So I'll show you why that's important later. And so I'm going to put these two together, and I'm going to sew on either side of that strip. So, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on either side. And this is a really fast way. I did not come up with this idea because I didn't know it existed, though, to be honest. I was thinking about how to make a whole bunch of half square triangles for my quilt pattern that I just designed. And I'll have to upload that later. I am almost done with the quilt. I like to have the finished top done. It won't be quilted yet. That takes me a little bit longer to do. So I'll put it behind me and show you. But I'm going to just show you this technique. So I'm going to lift up my presser foot and up my needle up. This is a really sweet machine. The 15 is a very popular design. They still have it today. If you buy a Sailrite machine, that's a class 15 too. Sailrite, S-A-I-L. I think it's R-I-T-E, but I'll put a little link or the name of it below, and also a link to the website. I bought a Sailrite machine. I haven't featured it on the channel yet. It's not vintage, of course, but I really needed a very sturdy and heavy machine. Very heavy. These machines will sew very heavy things, but I kind of like not to, I kind of want to just piece with them or put binding on with them. I kind of baby the vintage machines, but you can use them for heavier sewing. Some people buy them specifically for that purpose. Now that I have both sides sewn, right, and I think you can see the white thread. Let me see if you can see that. Well, anyway, I used white thread on this side, but for demonstration purposes, I'll just use this side. So you first want to cut a 45-degree angle on one side, and I'm using a 6-inch ruler right here, Creative Grids. It's a CGR6. And I'm going to use the line on the bottom where the stitching is, matching the stitching with the line on the bottom. Okay, move this up a little bit so you can see it a little better. And I'm just going to cut a 45. Oh, I'm in the selvage, so stay away from the selvage on this side. You don't want to, you know, have your, you want to stay away from the selvage. Anyway, you can even get a tiny half square triangle out of this right here. That's enough room for a tiny half square triangle. So anyway, I'm going to turn this around so I can see it. I'm going to do this real quick because it's a simple technique, and all you have to do is just keep it straight on the ruler, get perfect 45-degree cuts, or do rough ones at this stage. You can what I do all the time is I square it up at the end anyway. So you can use the oversized method where you make this a lot larger and then cut it down so that you can get a more precise piece for your quilt. Okay, and I am not pressing it hard enough. Let me do that again. See, I make mistakes. I just laugh, who cares? Just put your ruler back down, cut again. And maybe I need a new blade for that. I'll probably I need a new blade. I'll put a new blade. I have one upstairs, cutter. So, and I can still get another one out of that little short piece. Just one, and this one will be, so I could cut another one out of that. So I open this up, and there's going to be a little bit of stitches, a few stitches on the top. That's no big deal. They'll come right out. There's only like 2 or 3 up there. And then I'm just going to iron this to the dark side real fast. So give it a little bit. So doing it this way will give you a biased edge on the outside. And what I mean by biased edge, of course, if you don't know, if you're new to sewing, a biased edge will stretch, like it'll stretch. And the straight of grain stays put. It doesn't stretch, and it goes either direction, straight of grain. But on this edge is a biased edge. So if you make biased binding, it is handy because it will stretch around curves or things that you're making, like a binding for a quilt that has scallops on the edges, or if you're making binding for like stems on a flower and you want it to curve. Bias is great because it will turn and not give you those little pleats or folds, right? So I am not afraid of bias edges. The only thing I would do is I would probably only make it this big, the 6-inch. Or 6.5 inch. That would be the biggest I would make out of the strip piecing technique. Blah, blah. And I'm going to trim this down. Now, if I needed a 5.5-inch square, I would use a smaller strip. I would test out a 5-inch strip. It sounds crazy, but it will work because I used a 5-inch strip on this one, right? And I'm going to get a 6.5-inch piece right here, and it is 6.5, and it's perfect, actually, perfect 6.5-inch square, half square triangle. And I am just going to clean up the edges, and I'm going to stay on the lines here, just going to clean up the edges. Okay, flip it around. So a 5-inch strip gave me a 6.5-inch square. I should like make a table, like a PDF table of what you get when you do this technique. But if you wanted a smaller half square triangle, and that's what you get. It's pretty easy, but you do have bias edges on the outside. So if you're going to put this into a quilt, just be careful not to like stretch it as you sew. You know, don't hold the fabric. Let the fabric feed into the machine, you know, naturally. So anyway, this is a really quick technique I just wanted to share with you. It isn't new. I did look it up and I found that other people did it. So, but this is just one way I just came up with. I thought it was my idea, but it's not. I don't think you can honestly come up with too many original ideas, but I really, really try. But if you don't know this technique, give it a try. If you need like a whole bunch of half square triangles and you're thinking, oh man, that's because, you know, doing the 2 at a time technique or buying paper in one of those books, you know, you could buy books where you can paper piece half square triangles. Or anything, you know, any other aid that you use, this pretty much would make a ton of them really fast. I mean, with the pattern that I'm creating right now, I think it's like at least 20 I get out of one strip. And I'm making a 2-inch half square triangles, and they're little too. So this just makes life easier. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching Myers Design Studio. I'll talk to you later. Bye.